Brian, with the panel. It was supposed to be a dry run for trying terrorists in the U.S., but now that ex-Gitmo detainee Ahmed Ghailani has been cleared on all but one charge by a civilian jury, many are calling it a huge mistake. So what does the verdict mean for future terror trials? We're back with our political panel. All right, Brad, I'm going to let you take a crack at this one first.
Well, I think what we see here is a Muslim who doesn't want to have America have Judeo-Christian law being freed because of Judeo-Christian law. And it's obvious a mistake that we should not be trying people, giving people the same rights that we give all our other citizens who have killed people, and he's killed 200 Americans.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, you're an attorney.
Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. We should not give them the same rights that we give others.
Yes,
well,
that's what I'm saying.
I have to say I disagree with that. I think this was not a mistake. This was a victory for our judicial system. This was a vindication of the Department of Justice.
How?
Of the
one
Obama administration.
Of 284
he
charges.
He gets out in 20 years.
People were saying that there would be violence here in New York, that the system would collapse, that the federal civilian system could not handle it. There was no violence. We've had terror trials here in New York before. We can handle it. And the system functioned. We have a constitution in this country that permits us to have these trials and, in fact, requires that we give the rights and due process to people like Ghailani.
I want to listen to Attorney General Eric Holder, and then I want to ask you, what the heck would have happened if they didn't convict him on just this one charge? Mm-hmm. What would America have done with him then? Let's listen to the Attorney General.
At the conclusion of the Ghailani case, I'll ask you to ask me that question again. And I will give you the same answer, which is that Article III courts are fully capable of handling these matters.
Fully capable, Jamie. So, hypothetically, let's say he doesn't get convicted of anything. Then the civilian court worked?
Well, if he doesn't get convicted of anything, we have to take a look at what's happened to the other detainees that have been repatriated to their countries of origin. Mm-hmm. So people aren't just set free in the United States, which is the misinformation that's given to the American public, given by opponents of civilian trials. Remember Moussaoui, who was tried also in the United States and is sitting in prison where he belongs.
But in military tribunals, Elise, all that evidence that was not allowed in the civilian court would have been allowed.
Correct.
I don't even think it's so much about, the evidence per se, the evidence that supposedly would have allowed this key witness to participate. It's the fact, is this a criminal? Are we treating him like a common criminal, or is he an enemy combatant? I certainly think he's an enemy combatant and doesn't deserve the same to be tried in a court in New York.
This is what the State Department said after the one lone conviction for a 20-year sentence. A jury of 12 Americans convicted Ahmed Ghailani of a terrorist conspiracy. Well, no, that's not what it was. Yeah, a miscarriage of justice? No, it's called the rule of law.
It's about whether or not evidence that is received through torture can be admitted in a court of law, and whether or not that evidence is valid evidence. If you torture someone, can you rely on that evidence in court? Is it valid? Is what that witness told you truthful?
There was another witness who was not
brought him into this country. We gave him justice that he wouldn't have had if he'd have been kept out of the absolutely not.
That's a fair point.
This
is a murderer.
I mean, I think there's a fair argument that there could be some kind of hybrid national security court. This has been proposed by several legal scholars that could have, the military tribunal aspect, but also civilian judicial appointees also, and I think
that's not the military commission system that we have.
No doubt there's a huge question mark as to how the future terror trials will go, and we will have to stay tuned for that. Panel, thank you so much for your thoughts
in
this
the
morning.
Ice Palace.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fun
to be out here.